Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here. I'd like to return to Larry Scott's programs and in today focus on the exercises he used for his upper legs. Now I've done already several videos on how he developed his arms, chest, back and shoulders, but I haven't done the lower body, so I thought I'd address that issue. The source for the following information comes from the book Loaded Guns by Larry Scott, a very awesome book it's basically full of his secrets, and I highly recommend it, as well as his booklet. I think it's called Developing the Thigh. Anyway, both of these books contain the programs and exercises that he used, and I believe at least Loaded Guns is available online on either Amazon, on eBay, or on both. Now the exercises that Larry used are most of the ones that we already know. So he used squats, but he used all different types of squats, including the close stance squat, the basic barbell squat of course, front squats like I showed you in the first image of this video, as well as the hack squat. Now he learned this from Steve Reeves, and the hack squat back then was actually performed using a barbell behind your back, or just behind you, just behind you, and it was held at arm's length, and ideally your heels were propped up on a piece of wood, as shown now on a wooden board, and you'd come down with a fairly upright torso, and this form of doing a squat would actually load the lower thighs. And in this respect, Larry was very adamant about following Steve Reeves' advice, because Steve at the time, he had just become Mr. Universe and all of that, and he had a very famous teardrop development in his inner quadricep. And Steve was the type of classic bodybuilder that everybody admired because he didn't have such great hips or large gluteus muscle, which could be, I guess, developed using the squat. And as I guess as more specialization, he chose to actually develop the lower thigh more as opposed to the upper thigh. And Larry Scott was also in agreement of this method to give the body an X-like shape. So hack squats were used very much by old school bodybuilders using barbells, and of course these can now be performed nowadays using hack squat machines. Of course there are other staples like leg extensions and leg curls as shown here. But what was one of Larry's favorite programs? Again, this comes from the book Loaded Guns. He liked supersetting, and he would superset close stance squats with leg curls, and as a second superset would do hack squatting with leg extensions. Now the hack squat he actually did in a particular way. He would alternate sets and do one set hips on and one set hips off. Now I'm sure you're all going to ask, what does that mean? Well, he would come down, and by the way he would also alternate the foot position. If you do bring the toes out, this works the inner quadriceps. That gives you that wonderful teardrop muscle, the vastus medialis it's called, and or he would also have feet together, which would work on the vastus lateralis, or the outer sweep of the thigh. Now again, hips on and hips off. What does this mean? Hips on actually means that as you come down into the hack squat, as you come all the way down into the hole of the squat, that is all the way down, and if you keep your hips onto the machine, as in your back pressed onto the machine, and come up, this will work the thighs. But Larry would alternate this in his second set, for example, and then in his fourth set with hips off on the way up. So he would do one set hips on the way up and one set hips off on the way up. And why? Well, because hips off on the way up actually also works the hamstring. the hamstring actually takes a lot of the work coming up if your hips are off the hack machine. And so this is the reason why he would do it. Now for each of these supersets, he would do 4 sets of only 6 to 8 reps to use maximum weight. Larry was the kind of person that didn't necessarily believe in building up the body using high reps. He would use as much weight as possible in good form for only 6 to 8 reps, and therefore really overloading the muscle. And so if you do 4 sets of each of these exercises, of which there are 4 in these 2 different supersets, you would have a total of 16 sets in this program. I hope you've enjoyed learning about Larry Scott's favorite leg program. I will also do a video on his calf training method. I hope that if you do try this program, that, well, you could be as cocky as Larry is there trying to compare thighs with Tom Platz. Of course, Tom Platz was the king of legs, king of the quads, and I don't think you really can compare yourself to Tom Platz, but hey, at least you're trying, Larry. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet. This is the Golden Era Bookworm. Bye for now.